Welcome, everybody, to the Seattle Sports Union podcast. My name is Abraham DeWeese, and I'm back in with the Southwest Seahawk, and on the boards, of course, is the Soulman, Brian Solack. Rob, we have witnessed an amazing thing. We beat the best quarterback in the NFL 2 out of 3 times, and this time for the big one, a trip to the Super Bowl. How you
Yes.
feeling?
I made it a point since the playoffs started, or even actually since, going into the game against San Francisco for the first round bye,
Mhm.
just to stay, even keeled. I wasn't going to get too high. I think I mentioned it on the show previously. I just don't want to get too high. Just stay even. And I literally, I had an eruption of emotion of when that game came to an end. I knew the game. We had the game won, but they still had the ball. There was still a chance. And when we tackled Puka Nakua inbounds and they ran the clock, I had guests over. Had a little get together. I looked and I started to lose my emotional grip on myself. I shed a little tear, and I was like, we did it. We did it.
Oh, you were losing your grip on reality a little bit there?
I mean, maybe even reality, it's like,
Okay.
is this real? Right. But certainly on my emotions, and
Well, I tell you what, right there in that last play you're talking about, everybody was cheering, but I stood there waiting. I'm like, I'm not cheering until I see that ref's arm wave, clock is going, because like, damn, dude, if he got out of bounds and there's like 1 or 2 seconds left on the clock, they still had a chance for a Hail Mary to win the game.
there exactly. And it almost feels like, you just can't let yourself be too sure, right? I mean, you just don't know. You throw that ball up there and a defender gets caught out of position and somebody skies up at the right time and they make a catch. I mean, and then you're sitting there just in disbelief, right? And kind of like the interception against the New England Patriots, that second Super Bowl, which I hate to even bring up, but it was disbelief. It was like there's no way that just happened. There's no
Yeah,
way, but it did.
yeah. I was so shocked during that play that I was telling my friend Brett, I'm like, well, I mean, they're obviously going to overturn that call. I mean, they can't. That can't possibly be the way you end a Super Bowl.
Right. I mean, and it looked like it could have been. I mean, it literally looked like it could. I mean, was that a pass interference? I mean, he
Yeah.
blew up the receiver. Like they've got to throw a flag for that, even if it was wrong. You got to throw a flag there, right? And it's like, nope, no flag
Now,
came out, and the game was over. And I was like, it's wow. So yeah,
speaking of penalties and flags, the entire game seemed bumpy as far as penalties go. Not a dang Seahawk fan I know or a Ram fan I know thought that the refs did a good job. But, in my opinion, I guess if we both got screwed on several plays, does it really matter?
that I mean that just means the game was officiated correctly or appropriately, right? I mean, as long as these guys are human, you're gonna miss calls, you're gonna make a call where you shouldn't be, and you're gonna miss one where you should have. It's gonna happen. So as long as it ends up going the same both ways, that door swings both ways, I don't have a problem with it. But if it seems overwhelmingly in one direction versus the other, that's when it becomes kind of an issue, right? Obviously, you want the call to be made correctly, every time, but a missed call here, missed call there. Hey, you know what? The door swing both ways. That means both teams more or less had the opportunity to make up for it.
Yeah, and I get a little tired of people complaining. Even Seahawk fans, I get tired of them complaining about the refs, and it's like, well, I mean, look on the other side. I mean, there's a couple that, probably, we probably got away with, but it happened on both sides. I'm not
Yeah,
super.
the face mask on
Yeah,
Stafford was a big one.
that's exactly what I'm thinking about. Yeah,
hmm Yep, that
yeah,
was a big one, and but I mean, yeah, I mean, I didn't see. I mean, yeah, it looked like his head turned a little bit, but I don't know. Did he just miss it, or was his judgment that he didn't really grab it? I mean, who knows, right? Who
right.
knows? Who knows? So,
Well, and
um,
there's the one that was not called on the defender. Shaheed, reached for it out of bounds. And I know they said like it was over his head, but like, no, it was in his head. The ball hit his helmet. Like there was within a realm of possibility had he not been pushed in the back, he could at
mhm.
least made a play on the ball.
Right.
But yeah, it kind of happened to both teams. I'm not worried about it, especially the one with the Cooper Cup. That was actually called correctly. And I know I'm biased on this one, but him getting that first down, and I know Rams fans thought he fumbled it, but that's that
It plays like that just go to show, like, when people start boohooing and complaining, just go to show how little knowledge there is about the game. Even though, I mean, it's every single year we go through the same conversations about what is this or what is not that.
yeah,
But that was clearly, I mean, you saw the only question is there might be an argument for did he make the line to gain, but
right.
whether or not he caught that ball and whether or not he was down by contact is indisputable. Like that's just football. Like he had the ball, he made a move that was consistent with football, which is the
Term,
terminology
yeah,
for it
yeah.
now. And then he was down, and then the ball came out. His butt was on the ground. The ball came out after the fact. He's down by contact. It's just that it's simple,
It's
you
that
know.
easy. And you're right. If you want to complain, maybe the argument for the first down is the better complaint. But your head coach had an opportunity to do something. He has a little red flag in his pocket, and he was going to call a timeout anyway. Why didn't he drop it?
I think probably because the folks upstairs made it and they made the decision. They said, "Don't let's not do it. Let's not let's save. We might need it later." You know what I mean? Maybe somebody just made a good decision. There's a good. It's not irrefutable. Even if they did challenge it, you know what I mean? Would it be irrefutable?
Well, yeah,
So sometimes sometimes you don't win the challenge,
yeah.
not because you weren't right. It's just because the evidence there isn't irrefutable. So
Well, so that's what I got to say to the Rams fans is like, your head coach thought it was not a gimmies.
right.
Blame
It was
him. I mean,
questionable.
honestly, if I were a Rams fan, though, I would have liked him to throw that flag because you're getting down to about 3 or 4 minutes, and under 2 minutes, you can't even use that damn flag. Maybe that was again. You got to look internally for that one. You got to look internally for the Rams losing this one on their own as an entirety. Your kick returner, your punt returner, can't field a ball in dry conditions with no sun in his face and no wind.
That, I feel like maybe it was one of those just the moment got too big for him type of situations. I don't I mean,
Tripped
what else
over his
could it be,
shoelace. I
right?
don't know.
There wasn't a whole lot of wind, there wasn't any rain, as you said. It was nighttime. I don't know if you literally lose anything in the lights at Lumen Field. So yeah, no, I think you just wanting to make a play, knowing that your team hasn't done what they wanted to do for what the first one was in the second quarter where he muffed it, and then I think it was the third or the fourth when he fell backwards and did that one. So yeah, it was. I think he just wanted to make a play so badly, and just the moment got too big for him.
Got a comment here from our producer, the Soulman. Says it was one of the worst officiated games of the seasons with accusations of the bias and whatnot from the Rams fans. But you know what? Like I said, you could have called that pass interference on Sheed. There was actually another one that was in the end zone. I think it was Barner, where the guy was draped all over him like a cape. That was not called. The consistent holding by the Rams offensive line. Like, my God, they got away with muggings out there. But it happened to both teams, so I'm not that worried about it.
There is something to be said for having an appreciation. I'll say it like that. Having appreciation for letting the guys just play football.
Right.
Right?
Let the
This is
game
this
play.
this is virtually for all the marbles. This is for all the marbles with the exception of the next game, right? Let them go out there and just be men and play this game like men and let them figure it out. I mean, obviously anything egregious, yeah, you got to make calls, but I almost don't have a problem with keeping the flag in your pocket.
Well, I especially don't have a problem since the Rams got away with an insane targeting. It should have been a targeting call against the Saints. What, about 2, 3 years ago?
Mhm.
Yeah. So you've used up all your good referee calls, Rams.
Right, right. The wave
So
has to break and roll back at some point, right?
exactly. Man, so like aside from the aside from that fumble that was converted into a touchdown, any other key plays that you saw where you just knew this was the Seahawks night? Or did you not have that feeling at all?
the feeling was there, but I almost didn't wanna believe it, right? Because I feel like if I believe it, then something bad will happen, right?
Right.
The whole Murphy's Law type of thing. But
Once you
I
start getting
think
full of yourself, it's going to come back at you.
exactly, right? Don't get overconfident, right? So, I think one of the best plays that really speak to the good fortune of the game, and I'll say good fortune not to minimize the skill that was had in this game, but still good fortune nonetheless. Was I don't remember when the play was, but it was a play where on the left side you had Lawrence and I think it was maybe Nick Eamon
Mhm.
that took the same player, and I think the Eamon
Oh,
had
and then
been beat.
Kyron Williams got the touchdown.
Well, no, he didn't score. He didn't get it. He didn't score.
I'm thinking of a different play. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, and I think it might have been Kyron Williams, but whoever whoever the responsibility was, I think he came out of the backfield maybe, and Eamon Warry got beat. And if Demarcus Lawrence had done what he was supposed to do, which was rush the quarterback, I think actually Coach McDonald talked about this in the presser. Demarcus Lawrence was supposed to rush the quarterback, but he didn't. He took a step forward, then he fell back into coverage. But by him doing that, he took away what would have been a wide open receiver for Matt Stafford. And so there was a happy accident,
I see.
right?
Okay. Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, it was a happy accident. That play should have been. I mean, just a toss and catch. Just pitch and catch touchdown. Because he was beat on the edge there. But yeah, Lawrence. I don't know if Lawrence made an executive decision or just had the wrong call in his head or what. But by him making the wrong move there, instead of rushing the quarterback, he fell back into coverage. He actually saved the day. So things like that kind of go to show you like, okay, this was it's kind of our day, kind of like when the first snap of a football game goes over the quarterback's head and out for a safety, and you end up routing a team in the Super Bowl. Sometimes it just goes that way.
Got to get your opinion on this. One thing I was shocked about was that the last two games were basically a don't let Sam Darnold lose it for you, ram the ball down their throats with heavy doses of Kenneth Walker. This was a more balanced game, and they let Sam Darnold win the game. Any shock on your part?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. You may remember leading into this game, I had said that I think this game is really going to be the opposite of that. What
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
has
I do
been.
remember.
It has been
Yeah.
that let's just make sure Darnold doesn't turn the game over for us. But I said I think this game is going to be about Sam Darnold specifically. Can he go out there and play quarterback? And I'm not claiming to be Nostradamus or anything like that, but it would appear to be that I was at least somewhat on the right track because Sam Darnold went out there and he had a hell of a game. And it was really a battle between quarterbacks, and Sam Darnold came out on top. I mean, and it was a beautiful thing. I really think it's a situation where a guy gets a monkey off his back. He's beat a team that he had trouble with now twice this season, and he's made it to the biggest game of the season. So, I mean, all he has to do now is win one more game, and we can put all those conversations to rest.
What are your thoughts about Tariq Woolen? I mean, like that 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 unsportsmanlike conduct foul almost blew. Well, I mean, we gave up a touchdown. I mean, that's what that led to. Is in my opinion, I kind of feel like I'm not really worried about this because the outcome turned out fine. Had it been a loss, then that's the scapegoat. It was a win, and all I can hope for is that he doesn't do it again in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's that thing, right? No problems are ever as bad as they could be if you're winning, right? It doesn't matter
Yeah,
what it is.
right.
Everybody, all 53 men could literally hate each other, but as long as you're winning, it's fine, right?
Yeah,
So, um, you know, uh, I said it then, and I again I calmed down because, as you said, we ended up winning the game. And he actually I think made a great play later on.
he did.
Um,
Yeah.
right, I think that one in the back of the end zone I think was him, wasn't it?
No, that was Witherspoon, I think.
Oh, that was Witherspoon. Oh, okay, okay.
I'd
But I
have to
think I
check
do
that. I'd
remember
have
him
to
making
check
a
that,
play
but yeah.
after his faux pas.
But he
But
was strong after that. Yeah, he didn't give
right.
up.
But here's my thing. Again, I'm going to start by saying I did calm down. But after
Yeah,
I've had time to think about it now, I don't know that you don't look elsewhere, look to potentially move on from Week Woolen
he's a free
simply
agent.
because of that. I mean, he's had his troubles, and then he's come back and played very well, very well. but that just showed such a lack of awareness and maturity. And I say that knowing full well that when you're out there on that field, you black out. You know, just everything goes to the wind. Caution goes to the wind. You're out there, you're reacting. You're not really thinking about what you're doing. It just happens. I get all that. But almost in succession, I think there was a play or two gap between he dropped an interception, then he had the unsportsmanlike conduct, and on the very next play gave up the touchdown to Puka Nakua. And I mean, I mean that's a three strikes you're out type of situation right there. And I
Yeah, it
was
is.
very bothered by it.
Yeah, if you do the foul and then you shut down that play, then it's almost no harm, no foul. But yeah, to look like a yeah to get burned, and it's the whole Richard Sherman thing, right? If you talk a big game, but you shut the other team down, you get to talk that game, right?
Right, right,
He's
and
not
only
Richard Sherman.
right. I mean, I can't remember, and I'm sure it happened, but only on the rarest of occasions did Sherman ever get truly burned. You know, you're gonna get caught, sometimes, but when did Sherman ever really get truly burned? And he
Not
talked
till
more than anybody.
yeah, not
So
till the end of his career. Yeah, I mean
right,
but I mean this should be the high point of Woolen's career, contract year, 4 or 5 years in, and he'll get big money. And I agree with you. I trust Snyder in the draft to find someone else.
right, yeah. It's. I mean, you have to. It's one of those things. What have you done for me lately? Now, if he goes out there in a Super Bowl and ends up being the MVP, maybe it all erases. It's
Mhm.
possible, but yeah, you can't. You just got to be smart. You got to be smart. So
Which camp are you in? As far as the Seattle Seahawk defense, they got a lot of points and a lot of yards put up against them against these Rams. Is that a matter of just look, you won the game and the defense came up big? Or is this something to be concerned about as we go up against the Patriots?
no, I don't think it's much of a concern. We went up against. I mean, again, let's not lose sight of the fact that we played against the other best team in the league. The consensus best team, the best two teams in the league played in the NFC Championship game. So it wasn't like we were going to, go in there and hold them to 6 points like we did San Francisco. Right. So you're going to give up points, making plays when they count, getting out the field on third down, being, opportunistic when somebody fumbles or muffs a punt. Can you jump on it? When the ball hits the turf, things like that. It's about timing. It's about all that stuff. So no, you're not going to hold Matt Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams out of the end zone all game. They're going to get their yards. Puka Nakua is going to get open. He's going to get catches. He's going to get touchdowns. So I'm not very worried about it. I'm expecting a similar, if not better performance, a week from Sunday against a team that I don't think matches up with us very well, and not to be overconfident, but I don't think New England matches up with us too well. And I think we'll even see even better defensive performance.
Yeah, I'm kind of under the impression that it's a step down. And again, like you said, it's not a jab at them. The numbers prove it. Offensively, the Rams were the best. I mean, it's where'd we come in third or fourth, something like that. I mean, like you're gonna be hard pressed, especially when you jump on the other team. They're gonna go into high pressure mode and you know, try to move the ball and get the yards. And hats off to them. But I don't know if the Patriots have that offense. And I will say though, I think the Patriots have better defense. So let's not get too into that. We're gonna do another show on the preview. I want to get back to this particular game and get your general impression. If you think what I was thinking, that this is a better 1 through 53 man roster than 2013. That's my take. That's my bold take. What do you think? And I don't
Better
want
than
no, I want no
2013.
time will tell nonsense. I want your take right now. And Soulman, please put in the comments what your take is.
Well, Abraham DeWeese.
Yep, yep.
Uh, let me say first
You
that
better not say recency bias.
no, 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 no. I'm not
Okay.
going to say recency bias. I'm not. I'm what I'm going to say is that's a bold statement you
It
just
is.
made,
It is.
and it's. I will say this: it's hard to argue it, but I will. I just can't. I can't. I
You
can't.
can't go
I
there.
can't say that it's better.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
Russell Wilson was. I mean, phenom at the quarterback position in his own right. He was a different style of quarterback. Darnold is a little bit more orthodox in the position, how
Traditional,
the
yeah.
position is played, but he's a little more gunslinger. Russell was not a gunslinger, but Russell, did a lot of his run all over the place backyard style football. The running back position, I just don't know. I can't. You're not going to give the nod to Kenneth Walker over Marshawn Lynch. The wide receiver position is I guess it's fair to argue about this current team's receiving core, but only because that 2013 team, we were very, I mean, we were known for running the football, and we had guys that were producing who were virtually nobodies. Doug Baldwin, undrafted free agent. Tyler Lockett was a return guy. I mean, no one expected
Tyler
Tyler
Lockett
Lockett
wasn't
to
on
be
that
one of
team.
our greatest
Wasn't on.
receivers ever.
He wasn't on that team. It was Golden Tate, Jermaine
Golden
Kearse.
Tate, I'm sorry, Golden Tate. Sorry, yeah, Golden Tate, another one though, right? So Golden Tate was that's right. I was a year early with Tyler Lockett, right?
Yeah.
But Golden Tate. So we had Golden Tate, we had Doug Baldwin, who we have
Jermaine Kearse.
Jermaine Kearse, right? So I mean, none of these guys were marquee players coming out of school,
Percy Harvin, but he only played one game. So what is that?
Yeah, right, Percy. So we had Percy Harvin, who did one good thing. So yeah, and then and then you want to go defense.
I'll take our receivers this year, and I'll take our offensive line this year.
Well, yeah, I'll take offensive line. Yeah, I'll take offensive line. Now, so did you? Okay, so maybe I walked us down a different path. Do you want to take position group by position group or team?
We're halfway there.
Right. And so if you look on the defensive side of the ball, we had definitely got to take the LOB. There's just no way.
For defensive,
there's no way. You got to take the LOB. I can't.
You're talking about the defensive backs.
Well, I think the defense in general, the defense as a whole, the defensive backs, sure, but Cliff Averill and gosh, who else do we have? Chris Clemens and
Bennett.
Gosh,
Red Bryant.
Yes,
was Brandon Mebane on that team? Brandon Mebane was on that team.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like that defense was epic. Defense was epic, and maybe
I like this year's defensive line.
I mean, but we'll look at the numbers then. I don't think the numbers were better this year.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'm just.
What do you mean you don't have the numbers in front of you?
You're giving me chocolate cake, but I'm tasting creme brulee, and I'm like, not that chocolate cake's bad. I like chocolate cake, but I feel like this defensive line's better. I got a comment here from the Soulman, Brian Solack, our producer, that the defensive line is better, and that's why he thinks this year's team is better. I'll give you the DBs, but boy, I see Witherspoon, some Hall of Fame potential there.
Sure, yeah, and so I don't know what the opposite of recency bias is, but
living in the past. It's called living in the past.
But yeah, we have this team we have is good, and they have potential to be great.
I love the potential.
You know what? Let me take that back. They're great now. They have the potential to be historic, like that previous team was. At this point, that previous team is indeed historic.
Yeah.
Right, because that team is the best in history if you just look at historical figures, right? So this team doesn't have that just yet. So
first team to lead the NFL like 4 or 5 seasons in scoring defense. Is that right?
Right. I think it was 4 years in a row. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that's a historically good team. So when you want to say a current team is that good, it's always going to be met with a little bit of pushback because how can you say that? Like they haven't even done it. They've only done it once. They got to do it 3 more times before you can even, or maybe even 2 more times, maybe just 1 more time before you can even really have the conversation, right?
Yeah. Oh my God, our producer has turned Nathan Savage on us. He's got stats up the wazoo. That's appropriate for him, by the way. So our defense this year has 47 sacks compared to 44. That's pretty much a wash, isn't it? That's the same thing.
So.
Oh my God, these metrics go on forever. I'm not certain what he's trying to prove here, but it does look like in certain numbers, this year's defense is better than that defense. But numbers, they're part of the story, but they don't tell the context. They can be taken completely out of context. Yes, that's you, Matt Page and Nathan Savage. You're constantly doing that. Um, but okay, we'll see. We'll see. How about in 5 years, 6 years, we ask the same question and see what
For sure, for sure,
see
or
what
even 3
happens.
years. Let me say this. Here's why. Here's to your point, right? Numbers are one thing, but it's not the whole thing, not the whole
Yeah,
story, right? And I will say this, that 2013, that era of Seahawk defense, teams were literally scared of that team. Now, the league recognizes that this Seattle defense is good. There's nothing being missed there. Everybody knows this Seattle defense is very, very good.
right.
But the Legion of Boom, Cam Chancellor with that smoke visor across his face mask, just lurking in the secondary, decleating even the biggest players on the offense. Earl Thomas coming through like a bullet. And he did something. What did he do to Rob Gronkowski? He was bleeding in his lungs or something. He had a
Something
bruised
like that.
lung or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that
Laid
is
him out.
what the Legion of Boom was, right? So you talk about numbers, yeah, numbers sure, but they don't have that thing going on about them right now. Maybe they
Well,
will, but they don't right now.
that was the big thing is that the Seahawks defense under Legion of Boom played a base defense, whereas the Seahawks, I'm not trying to use the word gimmick as like a derogatory term, but it's a gimmick defense that nobody else is running right now. And the reason why they're able to do it similarly to that 2013 team is because they have a lot of hybrid players. So your your Earl Thomases played like a, Devin Witherspoon. They play bigger, they're not afraid to hit, and they can cover lots of ground. You've got your Eamon Worries as kind of like your analog to Cam Chancellor. You have a defensive line that can move around and play different positions. Derek Hall, what is he? He's a football player. He's not a people call him like a linebacker or a defensive line. I'm like, no, that guy's just a football player. Ben Worry's a football player. And that's a lot of, in my opinion, that's a lot of similarity to that 2013 team is
For sure, for sure.
we don't have
And
specialists. We have football players.
right, right. We kind of got what we were hoping we were going to get with Jamal Adams, right? Now, which is funny because now Jamal Adams is actually playing like I think he's actually listed as linebacker now with wherever he's. I think is he with Tennessee or wherever he's at? I think they actually have him listed as linebacker, so it's kind of funny. But yeah, no, for sure. And then you have obviously Richard Sherman out there who just locked down his side of the field, right? I mean, and the other thing too, you mentioned the defensive lineman. Similarly, the 4 down linemen can get to the quarterback without blitzing. Being able to get to the quarterback without blitzing, causing disruption in the backfield without blitzing is huge, right? And that's something similar that we're doing this year that we were able to do back then as well.
Thanks, Soulman. Jamal Adams is on the Raiders.
Raiders, yes,
That's
Raiders.
very appropriate. Yeah, a lot of similarities on this team and the 2013 team. But, like we just listed the offense defense, this special teams is better than that team. We need to see the 2013 team take on the 2025 Seahawks. How do we make that happen? Let's get John Madden on it.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
game I want to see.
for sure. We need John Madden and Pat Summerall to call that game. Yeah, and then we need Doc and Marty in the DeLorean. We
Yeah,
need to get
and bring
we
back.
gotta yeah, yeah, and bring these teams together. And oh my god, what an epic game that would be! What an epic game that would be. Oof, yeah, I couldn't call that one.
Hey, so we're getting towards the end of the show here, but I just want to, now that you've had a chance to calm down and I've had a chance to calm down from that day, that epic win, what makes you think that, how's the best way to put this? I feel like everybody got this wrong. What happened there? Because I think, well, you're even more positive than I was that this team was going to be successful. And I said they were a playoff team, 10 wins, 11 wins. You said like 12, 13 wins, and turned out being right. But just everybody out there just did not want to hear it. And it happened all the way up to us having to beat the Rams this week. Like, it's just the constant negativity against this team, constant negativity against Sam Darnold, constant, just constant negativity against the Seahawks. I don't know where it comes from.
It's the old, nobody wants to give a fair shake to that team from Southern Alaska, right? We never really get it until we actually prove it, right? Now they will be talking positive about us now for the next however many days we have to a game day, right?
Yeah.
They will now, and they will next season for probably at least the first half of the season. Depending on how the year goes. Once you have a couple down years, they want to just forget about us, and
I guess so.
it's Sam Darnold. Geno Smith, was he not? Sam Darnold, who came over here, who's got a monkey on his back. He couldn't beat the Rams. The Seahawks won 10 games the previous year, but they were, I mean, beginning of the year, they were plenty of talking heads on the TV screen who were saying we were going to finish third, if not fourth, in the division.
Yeah.
So you know I was very high on this team's potential this year. The only thing that gave me pause throughout the season was that I was very surprised at the success of the San Francisco 49ers. That's what gave me pause. Like, okay, these guys are okay, they started out week 1, we squeezed by them. Okay, then they start getting hurt, but they just keep on winning. I'm like, okay, well, if they can keep on winning like this, they're going to be a problem in December, right?
Yeah.
And then I didn't think the Rams were going to be as good as they were, despite how they came on strong at the end of last year. I didn't figure them to be as strong as they ended up being. I thought Seattle was likely to be the best team in this division. Ultimately, they were, but I thought they were going to be the best team in this division by a couple of games, and so it ended up not working out that way. But when you see how good the Rams and the Niners were this year, that's what gave me pause about our survivability of it all. But outside of that, no, I was high on this. I mean, 10 wins, and I don't know why people say we didn't get better. We got better over the offseason.
I enjoyed watching a lot of videos of these media pundits having to eat their hat because they were wrong. So maybe I should just give thanks for that. Speaking of giving thanks, we're at the end of our show, so we should give some shout outs. We will be back, by the way, folks, for a pre Super Bowl show. But we just wanted to uh, give a quick little recap and a little bit of our thoughts here. And, I want to give a huge shout out. Well, Soulman, one of his friends, passed away in Angie, and she's a big fan of the Seahawks, big influence in his life and his wife's and Soulman's wife's life as well. So big shout out to her. Hopefully she got to see the game and have one last thrill. And I'm going to go ahead and give my shout out. I'm going to give my shout out to Soulman, actually, because losing a friend, never good, never fun, never desired or wanted. But I hope you're doing well, even though you didn't get to enjoy the win as much as the rest of us. I hope that you enjoyed her life as much as the Seahawks win. How about you, Southwest Seahawk?
I'm gonna give my shout out to Ernest Jones, who once again gave us another epic F-bomb on a hot microphone. So they brought up the whole Sam Darnold conversation again, and he gave another
Good.
F-bomb, and I am very proud of it. So I like it. He stuck to his guns. He decided he's going to pay whatever fine they give him for it, I'm sure. And it's just that attitude that's going to take this team, is going to end up with this team hoisting a Lombardi trophy a week from Sunday. So shout out to that guy.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank everybody out there for watching us here on YouTube and listening to us on Spotify. Please check us out on social media at Seattle Sports U, as well on Facebook. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff on behalf of the Soul Man, Brian Solack, our producer, and on behalf of the Southwest Seahawk, Rob English, myself, Abraham DeWeese. We'll see you guys next time.
Go Hawks.